What it do? It's your boy Tally Woe. Been a while since I dropped one, but I'm here. You're all safe. Calm down. Let's get into some of these videos.
You should swallow one piece of gum every 7 years. Okay, so we all know we live in a big simulation, right? Everything around us is computer generated, right? That there's one thing that isn't part of the simulation. That's gum. Gum is weird. You chew it. You could just chew forever. That's because gum comes from outside of the simulation. Gum is real. Okay, so you also know if you swallow gum, it stays in your system for 7 years, and every cell in your body changes every 7 years, right? And the 7 year itch, you change personalities every 7 years. That's because every 7 years they come from the outside and they take you away and put a whole new you in there, and they can change you any way they want. But if you swallow the gum, then they can't, because the gum locks you in place, because the gum is real. Gum is their weakness. Swallow one piece every 7 years. Any more than that, you might get a stomach ache, but one piece every.
So I used to swallow a lot of gum, like a lot of gum. Like I done swallowed probably 37 years worth of gum in my life before I stopped doing it. And I remember pretty much everything. And all I'm gonna say is when I stopped swallowing the gum, I still remembered everything. I still know every day I go through. Nothing has changed except the things that I have found out. So you can follow that advice. I'm not swallowing no more gum. I already have bowel issues and I can't handle any more of them.
Expired and you could talk about this. You used to work at a secret Starbucks, is that right?
Yeah, there is a Starbucks that is like above reserve, like a Starbucks no one's ever heard of or been to. All right. Have you ever wondered while driving in Los Angeles how come you've never seen like Will Smith stuck in traffic on the 405?
Yeah.
I've never seen a one percenter just in their car stuck in traffic.
Why is that?
That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the Actor Bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX. You can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there, in those tunnels, is Starbucks set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All
Who's
of
them?
Seinfeld.
You've seen
Oprah.
Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a good tipper?
They don't have to pay.
So this has been underneath Los Angeles for a few years now? I mean, how long has this been there for?
I mean, it predates me. It seems like the city was built on top of it. So, I mean, I think this goes all the way back to the 20s.
This doesn't seem real almost. This is crazy.
I know Kanye's mad because paparazzi got a picture of him leaving his house, the streets he's been on, the cars he's in. I know he's mad if he don't get access to these tunnels. That's all I'm gonna say.
95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. Then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. You have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in, because you can teach people through practice how to change their brainwaves, slow them down. And when they do that properly, they do enter the operating system where they can begin to make some really important changes. Most people then wait for crisis or trauma or disease or tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait? And you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration.
So I agree, although I'm a big believer of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're content with your life, if you don't feel like there's nothing you need to change, then there is nothing that you need to change. But if you always wondering why things aren't going your way, if you always wondering why you don't look the way you want to, if you always wondering why you don't have the days that you have, look deeper in. Start doing some hard things. Start making some changes.
Most people have microwave ovens, cook a lot of food that way. Is that good?
It's the best way. It's the best way to kill yourself really, really fast. You can even do a test. Microwave water, let it go cold so you don't think the heat did it. And you have your flower pots, 2 flower pots with the same flower, bought at the same shop. And one you water with regular water, and the other you water with microwave water. The one you water with microwave water is dead in 3 to 7 days. Dead. Not minusculely growing. No, it's done. The military started to, for reasons to get food faster warmed up for our military, they tried microwaved food. After 3 days they had to stop because everybody was throwing up, dizzy and nauseous. The microwave is basically destroying every food value that's in the food and turning it into a toxin. So everything out of the microwave is highly toxic. And the food value is completely zero. So it doesn't really matter if you have a bowl of vegetable soup that you warm up in the microwave oven, or if you eat cardboard. It makes no difference. Because the food value is not there anymore, and it also becomes toxic.
So that one is 100% believable to me. I mean, if you know what a microwave is, if you just go to Google real quick, do 10 minutes of research on what microwaves are and what they do, they erase all the life energy out of whatever they heat up. I mean, you're sacrificing quick food for nutrition when you use a microwave. Like, 100% believable. I'm throwing away my microwave tomorrow.
This just in, Christian nationals are now getting Trump's name on their forehead because they never read Revelation 13 because no Christians actually read their Bible. Revelation 13 says that the beast will cause all who refuse to worship his image to be unalived, and it will force all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hand or on their forehead so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Ironically, they're also making golden statues to look like Donald Trump, and some of them, ironically or unironically, are literally worshiping the statues, but it's not a cult.
Stupid people do stupid things. Without getting too political about it, we're just going to talk about this at face value. Getting anyone's name tattooed across your forehead to be the main thing covering the entire mass of your forehead is something a stupid person does. Period. I don't care whose name it is.
Liquid water has probably been discovered on Mars, but there are some things to know. For starters, the water is at least 5 miles deep, maybe 13. And even on Earth, with all of our technology, the deepest we've been able to dig is like 7.5 miles. Second, this isn't some kind of open underground ocean. The water is most likely inside the cracks of rocks. We've known for a while that Mars once had lakes and rivers, but where all that water went has been the mystery. This might be the answer. Researchers went through 4 years of its seismic data, like quakes, to see how the ground shook up. It's actually kind of similar to what we do on Earth to find oil. And the data suggests there could be enough of it to cover the entire planet in a mile deep of water. To be real with you, the most this is going to do is provide us with the history of Mars. That's probably it. Some people are hailing this as a good place to start searching for life, but if we're gonna drill that deep for life in cracks of water, we might as well go to places that have oceans, like Europa or Enceladus, places with actual open waters. I know everyone wants to be excited to live on Mars, and we will definitely send people there within my lifetime, but there are better options with more reward in the long term than a desolate rock that cannot be brought back to life. Team Venus.
I ain't going no fucking where. Y'all can sell this idea of a life, a cool life out somewhere else and having more than what you can have here, or having a better life than you can have here, or being I don't know, some kind of Lewis and Clark of the planets and all that stuff. I ain't doing it. I'm not going no fucking where. I don't even go in the ocean. I'm definitely not about to go to the ocean on a whole nother planet where I probably can't even get back. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Bye.
I got a rabbit hole for you to dive into. And if you don't feel like diving into it, I do have a video that's posted, it's already uploaded, where you can watch the full story. But back in 2005, 2006, maybe 2007, YouTube was not the same. People used to talk about the weird side of YouTube. All of YouTube was weird back then. There were no guidelines. People were posting the craziest stuff. There was a Russian guy who was fertilizing chicken eggs with his own swimmers. He was trying to recreate life, and he was successful. People were able to watch 3 babies be made. They don't look like babies that we would expect them to look like. This guy was always really frantic, and he never showed his face, but we could recognize his hands. He was always posting in different rooms like he was on the run. People were saying that he was actually being looked for by Russian authorities for crimes against humanity. He was wanted by world authority figures for breaking universal laws. Supposedly there is a world peace treaty, or a world treaty that prevents people from interbreeding species. It's called homunculus. I have the full video, I already posted it, or you can just dive down this creepy ass rabbit hole by yourself.
If I go buy some eggs from the store and I crack an egg and it start looking like one of my classmates, I swear to God, I'm a scream cry.
So before I say anything, I'm just going to introduce what I'm going to talk about first. So basically, I'm going to talk about El Espejo Negro.
What, the black mirror?
Is one of the most dangerous things that you could have in your room, which is basically your TV.
What? Why?
So your TV, right? It's black, but it also reflects. So they're saying that that's the most dangerous thing you could have facing your bed because of how much shit happens inside the TV. On top of that, it's a mirror, bro. So it's like 2 portals in one, bro. Like, it has static and shit, and it has a mirror itself. So they're saying that if you sleep with the TV facing you, you have bad sleep, that you have drained energy, because beings from other dimensions, bro, are constantly feeding off your energy through that portal. And then also another thing is having a chair in your room.
A chair?
So if you have a chair in your room, any entity takes that as an invitation to stay there and sit down in your room, bro.
I never heard of that. What the f? I like you don't have a mirror, but obviously everybody has a
TV facing them, bro.
Yeah. No wonder I don't get good sleep. Actually thinking about it now.
I mean, that's what it could be. That's just the whole speculation.
You know what I'm about to do?
What?
I'm about to
put like something over your TV?
No. I'm gonna sleep with the TV on, but with static.
Why the fuck would you do that?
I'm gonna see what the fuck happens.
Yo, this guy, bro, I swear, bro.
The day that I wake up and I see a ghost or a spirit in one of these chairs is the day I sit on the floor for the rest of my entire life.
It turns out that volcanoes are not what we thought they were. They aren't spewing lava from deep underground the Earth's crust. They are actually the dead carcasses of old dragons. And if you don't see it yet, maybe you will now. This is the face of a dragon that died. There are many other examples of volcanoes looking like the faces of dragons, just like this one right here. And that's because they are. Now let's take a look at Mayon Volcano. And what do we have here to the right? It is the head of a dragon. The entire mountain is the dead carcass that exploded. and all that remains that is visible is the head. Here's another one, Mount Vesuvius. We got the dragon on the left, and its mouth is spewing out all of the elements inside of its stomach, which I'll get to soon, and it created this mountain here. Now, I bet you didn't know that there are animals that actually use glycerin and potassium to make fiery explosions that shoot out of their body, usually their butt. Such as the bombardier beetle, which has a reaction going on inside of the back of its body, and then it just like shits out a huge flame of fire. So is it really that hard to think that perhaps there was an animal a long time ago that could shoot flames out of its mouth with just glycerin and potassium? But there we are. Now you know that volcanoes are actually the dead bodies of dragons, and there are chemical reactions going on which create the flames going upward, and it's just basically going on in the animal's stomach. However long this thing died, it was probably like 1,000 years ago.
So I'm gonna call cap on that. While I believe in dragons and I believe that they were real and probably still are at some point or to some extent, I also think that ever since Tafiti laid down and went back to sleep in Moana, y'all been tripping. For real. Y'all been making correlations that just make y'all seem like y'all need to be in one of them jackets that tie your arms behind your back.
When I left Fox, I went to MGM for one picture. Thank goodness, only one. And when I got there with my mother, we were separated. She went into the office of Louis B. Mayer, and I went into the office of Arthur Freed. And he was going to talk to me about a movie he wanted to put me in. I'm 12 years old, you know. And I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself. So I had no clue about what was happening. And so it struck me so funny, I laughed at him. And I laughed uproariously. I had tears, you know, and he got infuriated. And he said, out, 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 go.
Did you tell your mother?
Well, I went down. I was very quiet. I went down and met her in the lobby of the administration building. She came out very quietly from Louis B. Mayer's office, and we walked hand in hand silently to the car, which was unusual. We got in the car driving home. I said, Mom, you won't believe what happened to me. And I told her what happened, and she got kind of quiet, and she said, well, you don't know what happened to me. And Louis B. Mayer wasn't as bad as Freed was to me. But he came on to my mother. And so we both decided that we didn't like MGM much. It was, you know, it was better at Fox.
I'm glad she can laugh it off, but I think it's very messed up for people to be going to these meetings thinking that they're about to have their life changed simply because of their talent. And all of a sudden they turn around and the person they talking to is bottomless. Like, you can't prepare a person for that type of moment. Like, it's so messed up. And I'm so glad that a lot of people are coming out and exposing these creeps, because that's what they are. I'm glad a lot of people are coming out and exposing these creeps for what they really are.
Elon Musk is the false prophet. Okay, well, I can't say I know that for sure. My goodness, is he not the top candidate right now for that position? You know, the one who wants to implant a microchip in the brains of everybody? If Bill Gates wanted to do this, people would be freaking out.
Elon said to me, he said, you're going to be able to talk without words. This technology will be some sort of an implanted device that allows you to have constant access, probably to something akin to ChatGPT and AI, along with some interconnectivity with other people that are wearing the same device. And it'll probably initially be something that translates language.
Now, what does that sound like? Revelation 13:17, and that no one will be able to buy or to sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. And I wonder if it's just a coincidence in timing that we have universal basic income being voted on this election. Now, I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not sure about you guys, but I can totally see if you do not take that mark, you will not get your funds, and you cannot work because, I don't know, maybe the Tesla robots have taken your job. I mean, there's nothing to see here at all. Just continue to trust the richest man in the world, who I'm sure has nothing but good intentions. I mean, again, nothing to see here. There's nothing spiritual going on at all. Elon Musk is for the little guy. He cares about you. Now, I know I am not the only one connecting the dots here, feeling like you're going crazy how other Christians are falling hook, line, and sinker for this guy. And now we have Donald Trump about to launch his own crypto token on Tuesday. I mean, seriously, if Bill Gates or George Soros or Anthony Fauci wanted to put a chip in your brain and have a cryptocurrency, people would freak out. But you have Donald Trump and Elon Musk do it. The cool guys are doing it. The good guys, they're on your side. The discernment levels are non-existent in some people right now. Now, you can mock and scoff all you want, but how can you not even acknowledge that there is a typology here? An individual who is going to perform signs and wonders through technology, by the way, to then heal people with this mark or this chip in the brain. And he's also going to connect everybody together with a hive mind so that we can all speak to each other and all have one language again, like the Tower of Babel. And he has ties with a man who is very beloved by the world, who is going to bring in peace because he's a strong man and he has a peace deal in the Middle East. And he also is all for cryptocurrency and tying that all together. Hello? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. How people cannot see what's going on. Again, the typology at the very least, the foreshadowing at the very least. But because they're cool, because they talk about freedom and they talk about liberty, that people fall for it. It's the Hegelian dialectic, guys. The problem, reaction, solution. But again, this is all my personal opinion, speculation, and a theory. What do I know? What do I know? I love you guys all so much. I'm sure that if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you see what's going on and you are super suspicious, like this. With everything going on, like that. I see you out there. But if you think this is crazy, that's fine. I love you anyways. God bless, and remember, the just shall live by faith.
I have too much critical thinking to not believe anything that he said. If you can pay attention, it's pretty easy to put together. All I'm going to say is, if I have to have a computer chip put up in my brain in order for me to buy food, you might as well get ready for your karma after I starve to death.
Into the record, page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employees. Just have some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with page 55 from the committee's interview which took place on July 17, 2023. In that which took place on July 17, 2023. In that, we're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden. We're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
So that looked exactly like what it was. And all I'm going to say is, they out here getting ventriloquy just to have a job, just to have a salary, you can count me out. I'm the only person that's going to be talking for me, period.
So in case you didn't know, the first UFO crash in the United States was not actually Roswell. The first UFO crash happened in Texas. It was April 17th, 1897. And it was actually reported in the normal news because it was like everybody knew that it happened. There wasn't no one was guarding that information at that time. So you can actually, or you I know you were able to. I'm not sure if they've done anything with it now, but you used to be able to go through the old newspaper records and pull that up. And they actually had, like, they put a burial because there were bodies that were found. And I'm going to say for entertainment purposes only, because I want TikTok to stop taking my stuff down. Seriously. Anyways, entertainment purposes only. Everything. All the time. And so anyways, there was actually a grave that was put at one of the churches in Texas. And they had like a tombstone that was there, and they like engraved on a tombstone what the UFO looked like. It was just like an unmarked. And so they started doing this documentary recently, and they went over there, and for some reason they wouldn't let the people on that were trying to do the documentary to show like where it was and what it looked like and all that kind of stuff. And when they came back, they had removed that grave. So now the grave is no longer there, which I think is really interesting. And all of this happened recently because all of this stuff started coming up recently, and no one really paid attention to it because no one really knew about it. No one dug that deep. Like, nobody goes all the way back to newspapers in the 1800s, right? Like, most of us, they just sit in our records and we don't check it. But there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And I would share it with you, but if I share it with you, TikTok is going to take this down immediately because I can't give you any references whatsoever. So feel free to look it up. You'll have to dig for it at this point because they're trying to hide all of it. Everything is for entertainment purposes only. I love you. Bye.
I'm going to be real. I'm not going to go look that up. I don't have time for all that. But if you do, please comment. Let me know what you see. Let me know if there's any validation to this.
The individual named Fitz, my testimony will touch on this matter, and I've been asked to approach with extreme caution. The incident at the Bayside Marketplace in Miami on January 1st is currently classified, and I've been instructed to refrain from divulging certain details due to the ongoing nature of the investigation. However, in the interest of transparency, I will provide what little information I am authorized to share. A New York resident we will be referring to as Fitz was indeed present at the Bayside Marketplace on the night of the incident. The DoD has confirmed that Fitz may have witnessed something classified. Reports indicate that this individual captured footage of the event in question, footage that, as of now, remains classified and has not been retrieved by the federal government. This footage, if revealed, could have profound implications, not only for national security, but for how we understand these events. The American people are not aware, but due to government protocols, we have never had a situation where a civilian has had footage of this kind in their possession and has not been retrieved by the Department of Homeland Security. In past incidents, our procedures would normally resolve situations like this in a rapid time frame. There is a first time for everything. Now, as I'm sure you understand, I must emphasize that Fitz has been deemed an enemy of the state. This designation stems not from any malicious action on his part, but due to the sensitive nature of what he witnessed and the material he is believed to possess. Let me be clear. Fitz is not the only person of interest in this matter, but his involvement has made him a focus of ongoing federal operations. I would strongly advise everyone in this room and beyond to exercise caution in the questions they ask and the assumptions they make. This is an active investigation, and any attempt to push for classified details could not only jeopardize the integrity of the case, but also risk exposing highly sensitive information that our government is working diligently to control. We are treading on dangerous ground here. The Bayside incident, like the Nimitz encounter, touches on matters far beyond what we're ready to discuss publicly. And while I understand the desire for transparency, there are certain things we simply cannot divulge at this time. The safety of our citizens and the stability of our national security depend on our discretion. That is all.
Well, if you know what the Bayside Mall incident was, the Miami Mall incident, a lot of people saw some weird stuff, and the weird stuff that they saw was definitely not of human nature. Now, they just said that people trying to spread this type of information or talk about this could lead to safety issues for themselves, which is, basically one of those threats that can't be considered a threat because of legal jargon. All I'm going to say is, if you out here, if you paying attention, you know what's up. All you can do is protect your energy. Y'all can speculate all you want to. That was a UFO. That was a non-human space aircraft. Period. I don't care about all you people trying to be skeptics and trying to have dialogue over it, all that stuff to try to see if everybody else thinks what you think. That was a UFO. And why are y'all over here like letting UFOs be seen? And then you got Department of Defense telling people that aliens are real and they got stuff in custody and alien biology in custody and everything. And then y'all telling us we can't talk about the Miami Mall incident. Y'all need to get your shit together.
It's interesting. Jeremy, I want to talk to you for a second. The Pentagon's UFO chief, this is a Pentagon guy, a UFO chief, the chairman of Harvard's astronomy department as well, both releasing a report on Tuesday where they wrote an artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth. You've got the Pentagon talking about the idea of a mothership going above us and sending probes down.
All I'm going to say is, if these aliens give me any kind of notion that they just here to make sure everything is copacetic and they just wanted to interview some of the chosen and, they don't mean us no harm, they just want to know what's going on, I'm going to tell them everything. I'm going to tell them y'all out here eating ass. I'm going to tell them about all this police brutality. I'm going to tell them everything.
If your credit card PIN is supposed to be a secret, then how does the machine know whether you're correct or incorrect when you type it in?
What do they do? What
Answer the question.
What is this?
Answer the question.
I don't.
Just answer the question.
I love the internet. Anyway, those were the most interesting TikToks that I have seen this week. Kind of short on the dialogue because, you can only go into detail so many times about some of the same topics. And also, I've had a long day, very tired, but we'll be back next week. We're going to keep doing this. It was nice to talk to y'all. Holla back.